Hi, my name is Madison, and I'm 30 years old. Until 3 weeks ago, I thought my life was exactly where it should be. Engaged to the man I loved, planning a beautiful wedding, supported by my family. But one moment, one single, shattering moment, changed everything. It happened at Rose and Ivory Bridal Boutique, a high-end shop where I had a long-awaited appointment to try on my dream wedding dress. My mother Linda had insisted we bring my younger sister Mira too, even though I was hesitant. Mira was always
Mira.
charming, dramatic, a spotlight stealer since childhood. But she was family, and this day was supposed to be special. The bell above the boutique door chimed softly as I stepped in, my heart light with anticipation. I held my phone in one hand, texting Bella about how excited I was to see the dress. But my steps froze halfway into the room. There they were. My fiancé, Jason, had his hands around Myra's waist, his lips pressed against hers, not in a brief, guilty mistake, but in a slow, intimate kiss. And behind them, rows of ivory lace and satin, the backdrop for my perfect day turning into a nightmare. Oh my God. Mira jerked back, her manicured hand flying to her lips. Her eyes widened in guilt. And something worse. Pity. Madison, Jason started, stepping toward me. Please, I can explain. How long? My voice surprised me. It didn't crack. It was steady, sharp. Mira didn't even pretend. 3 months, she said softly. It just happened. 3 months. While I was picking florals and tasting cakes, they were sneaking behind my back. My stomach turned. I felt the engagement ring on my finger burn like it didn't belong to me anymore. Sweetheart. My mom's voice called from behind me. Why are you standing in the doorway? I didn't answer. I stepped aside. She and my dad, Oscar, came in and immediately froze. Mira, my mom whispered. Jason. Mira sniffled, her voice trembling with well-practiced emotion.
I'm sorry.
We didn't mean to hurt anyone. We fell in love. Oscar was the first to move, toward Mira. It's okay, he said, putting an arm around her. These things happen. You can't help who you love. I stared at him in disbelief. You're defending them? Maybe it's better this happened now, before the wedding, he shrugged. I pulled off the ring and handed it to Jason. This belongs to you. He looked ashamed. Madison, wait. But I didn't wait. I walked out without a backward glance. I didn't cry.
Not yet.
But I knew one thing already. They hadn't just betrayed me. They'd awakened someone I didn't know lived inside me. 3 days later, the betrayal still echoed in my head, but I hadn't broken down. Not yet. I'd replayed the boutique scene over and over, asking myself how I missed the signs. But the truth was simple. I trusted them. And that trust had been weaponized. I was sitting on my couch with a glass of red wine when the doorbell rang. A delivery man stood with an ivory-colored envelope tied with gold ribbon. My heart sank the moment I saw the handwriting. It was from Mira. I opened it slowly, expecting something half-apologetic. But instead, it was a formal invitation, thick cardstock, embossed letters, floral borders. You are cordially invited to the wedding of Mira Brooks and Jason Carter. My breath caught. I couldn't believe the audacity. They were getting married. Not in 6 months. Not in a year. In 3 months. The same date I had reserved for my wedding. I barely had time to process before my phone buzzed. It was Mira. Hope you got the invite. Mom insisted we hire a professional wedding coordinator. And I thought, who better than you? We'd love to pay you, of course. It would mean the world to have you with us on our special day. I stared at the screen. The words blurred together. I felt cold. Was she serious? I didn't respond. I couldn't. Instead, I texted Bella and asked her to come over, now. When Bella arrived, I handed her the invitation. She read it out loud with rising disbelief. They want you to work at their wedding? As in coordinate it. At my own stolen wedding, I muttered. Bella's face darkened. That's not even petty. That's psychological warfare. I nodded and handed her my phone. There's more. She read Myra's message, then gagged. She's not even hiding how much she enjoys this. She thinks she's won. Then I showed her the screenshot I had taken at the boutique. The one where Mira texted me later that night. You always knew Jason was too good for you. This way, we all get what we deserve. Bella stared at it, her lips tightening. You're not going to let this go, are you? No, I said softly. I'm not. She leaned forward. Then we don't fight fire with fire. We use precision. You take the job. Accept it. Smile sweetly. And from the inside, you dismantle everything. I blinked. You want me to coordinate the wedding? Bella grinned.
No.
I want you to take control of it. I looked down at the invitation. My hands had stopped shaking. Okay, I whispered. Let's give them the wedding they'll never forget. Bella wasted no time. The very next day, she brought her tablet and a list of connections that would make most PR executives jealous. But one name sat at the top, bolded, underlined, and glowing with possibility. Dominic Hale.
CEO.
Billionaire. Event investor. The same man Mira once humiliated herself trying to impress at a charity gala. She'd lied about being a major donor, snuck into the VIP area, and ended up being escorted out by security. She's obsessed with him, Bella said, scrolling through photos. You remember what happened last year, right? I did. Mira had cried for 2 days, not because she got caught, but because Dominic didn't even remember her name afterward. She's tried tagging him in every business pitch since then, Bella added. He blocked her last fall. I raised an eyebrow. You think he'll take a meeting with me? I think he'll want to, she said. Especially if we show him this. She pulled up an email. It was from one of Dominic's former assistants, the same man Mira had threatened with false harassment claims unless he let her into that charity event. He left the company after this, Bella said. But he kept the proof. The email made my stomach twist. Mira had blackmailed this man. And now I had the evidence. 2 days later, I stood in the sleek glass lobby of Hale Enterprises, my portfolio in hand and nerves wrapped tight in my chest. Mr. Hale will see you now, his assistant said, opening the frosted door. Dominic stood near the window, looking out over the skyline. When he turned, I was surprised by how young he looked. Early 40s, confident, sharp eyes that missed nothing. Miss Brooks, he said, motioning me to sit. I've reviewed your proposal. I started to explain, but he raised a hand. You're coordinating the wedding of Mira Brooks and Jason Carter, your sister and your ex-fiancé. That's an unusual career move. I met his gaze. That's not a coincidence. That's the point. He leaned back. Go on. I laid out the situation, showed him the text, the invitation, and finally, the email. When he finished reading it, his jaw tightened. She cost this man his job. I nodded. She's done worse. But this time, I want her to face it, not with public humiliation, not exactly. With poetic justice. He studied me. And, what do you need from me? Influence. Subtle chaos. Presence. If she sees you at her wedding, she'll think she's won, until she finds out why you're really there. A long pause. Then he said, Very well. I'll help you, under one condition. Name it. When this is over, I want first rights to invest in your business, legitimately. I think you're going places. We shook on it. It was official. Let the planning begin. Becoming the official coordinator for Mira and Jason's wedding gave me access to everything. The venue, the vendors, the timeline. I didn't just have a seat at the table. I owned the table. My first walkthrough of the Grand Regency Hotel felt surreal. It was supposed to be my venue, my dream. Now it was a battlefield. And I was planting my flags. I've arranged for lilies in the bridal suite, I said into my earpiece as I paced the marble lobby. Bella's voice crackled in my ear. Perfect. You sure she's allergic? Not dangerously. Just enough to make her eyes puffy and her nose red. She'll look like she's been crying all night. One of the bellhops passed by carrying an ice bucket. I gave him a polite smile and turned back toward the main ballroom. Makeup team? Booked, Bella replied. And I had them bring 2 shades too dark for her foundation. She'll look like she borrowed someone else's face. Photographers?
Prepped.
Told to use natural light and avoid soft filters. Every unflattering angle will be immortalized. We were meticulous. Every little detail that Mira prided herself on, image, perfection, admiration, would slowly unravel without anyone able to trace it back. Seating charts? I placed Myra's high society friends far from the action. Meanwhile, I would sit at the VIP table with Dominic, front and center, just close enough to rattle her nerves. Then came the playlist. Bella helped me tweak the music schedule, so Myra's walk down the aisle wouldn't match the song she'd obsessively chosen for months. She'll either start walking too early or too late, Bella grinned. Either way, offbeat bride. Even the champagne delivery had been altered. I ordered the cheaper vintage to be delivered early, and the actual brand Mira wanted to arrive 20 minutes late. Just long enough to spark her panic. By the time the rehearsal dinner rolled around, Mira was already snapping at vendors and triple texting me every hour. Madison, are you sure the lighting guy understood the floral spotlighting request? Also, have you spoken to Dominic's team? Is he definitely coming? I kept my responses brief and professional. Everything is under control. In truth, it was more under my control than she could ever imagine. Even my dress was part of the plan, a custom-designed cream-colored gown by Dominic's team. It was elegant, tailored, and just barely similar to the bridesmaids' dresses, enough to outshine them, but still maintain deniability. I looked in the mirror that night and saw someone I hadn't known I could be. Not broken, not bitter, strategic, steady, and quietly dangerous. The morning of the wedding arrived with the usual chaos: steamers hissing, florists buzzing in and out, and makeup artists frantically setting up stations. I stood in the middle of it all, clipboard in hand, earpiece in place, calm as a glacier. Mira, predictably, was having a meltdown in the bridal suite. "The lilies are making my eyes water," she wailed. I warned her not to overreact. I said to Bella over comms. She wanted opulence. She got it. Linda rushed over to me near the ballroom archway, wringing her hands. "Madison, thank goodness. Myra's losing it. She says the champagne's wrong. The makeup's wrong." I cut in, keeping my tone neutral. "Everything's being handled. She'll be picture perfect by ceremony time." Linda touched my arm. "You look beautiful today. That cream dress, it's elegant. It's functional," I said flatly and turned to signal the caterers. But the compliment lingered. Even she noticed. I looked better than the bridesmaids. Probably even Mira. "Dominic's car just pulled up," Bella announced in my ear. "Ready for the grand entrance?" I turned toward the double glass doors. Dominic Hale walked into the Grand Regency's lobby like he owned it, confident, composed, impossibly polished in a dark suit. Heads turned. Conversations paused. Right on cue, Mira appeared at the top of the staircase. Her gown shimmered, her veil in place, until her eyes landed on Dominic. Her gasp echoed across the room. "Oh my God," she whispered. "Is that Dominic Hale?" I stepped up beside her. He heard I was coordinating. He insisted on attending. Business support. She clutched my arm. "You have to introduce us." I smiled politely. "Of course." As we walked toward Dominic, she adjusted her posture, her expression flipping into adoration. "Mr. Hale," she gushed, extending her hand. "I'm such a huge admirer of your work." He shook it briefly.
Yes.
"I remember you. From last summer. You tried to crash my gala." Myra's face stiffened. "She did?" Linda asked quietly beside us, clearly blindsided. "I remember it vividly," Dominic said with a cool nod, turning to me. "Shall we find our seats, partner?" Mira blinked. "Partner? Didn't Madison tell you? I'm investing $10 million into her company," Dominic replied, his voice perfectly timed to reach nearby guests. "She's building something extraordinary." Mira didn't answer. Her mascara was already starting to smudge. Bella's voice came through my earpiece. "She's panicking. She just realized who this day really belongs to." The photographer arrived. Bride and family photos in 5 minutes. "I'll need Madison," Mira snapped. "She's the coordinator." "Actually," Dominic interjected, "I need her for a business matter. I'm sure you understand." And just like that, He guided me away, leaving Mira standing alone, foundation slightly cracked, lips trembling, in a dress that no longer made her feel like the center of the world. The ballroom lights dimmed as dinner service wrapped up. Guests murmured with anticipation for this special video montage, a tribute to Mira and Jason's love story. Mira sat at the head table, fidgeting with her fork. Her eyes were still watery from the lilies, and her foundation had begun to cake under the stress. Jason, seated beside her, kept checking his phone. He looked more like a guest waiting for his car than a groom about to dance with his bride. Bella slid into the seat beside me at the VIP table and leaned in. The DJ has the go-ahead. Montage starts in 30 seconds. Text leaks are already spreading through the guest list. Dominic nodded, watching his screen. Several guests are reading them as we speak. I took a sip of champagne, calm on the outside, electricity in my veins. The projector clicked on. At first, it showed standard clips, Jason and Mira posing by a fountain, smiling at a picnic, Mira throwing her head back laughing on a boat. Then the tone shifted. Suddenly, Mira appeared at a college party, drinking from a red Solo cup, mid-shout. Another clip flashed, Mira mocking a friend in a group chat, her words scathing and cruel. Then came the text messages, the real ones, between her and Jason, from the early days of their affair. Time-stamped. Explicit. Lines like, "She still doesn't know. God, it's almost funny. The dress she picked is hideous. I never let my real bride wear that." The ballroom went dead silent. Mira stood up. "Turn it off. Turn it off." Guests whispered. Phones lit up. One of the bridesmaids' mothers gasped. "Is that what she said about my daughter?" Jason stood up, stunned. "Mira, did you write those things?" Jason, it's out of context," she stammered. I rose from my seat. "Is everything okay? I can speak with the tech team if you'd like." Myra's eyes locked on me, wild with fury. You did this. You planned all of it." "Mira," Linda hissed. "Sit down." "I will not." Mira screamed. "She's jealous of me. She always has been." Jason stared at her in disbelief. "You lied about Madison ending the engagement? You said she wasn't ready." "She wasn't. I thought." Dominic stood calmly. "Perhaps we should take this somewhere private." "Oh, you'd love that, wouldn't you?" Mira snapped, then turned to me and slapped me hard across the face. The room gasped. My head tilted slightly with the force. My cheeks stung, but I didn't react. Dominic stepped between us. "Assaulting your wedding coordinator? At your own reception? That's bold." Mira looked around. Everyone had seen it. No more masks. Just Mira, trembling, exposed, mascara streaked, unraveling in real time. After the slap, the silence was crushing. Then murmurs. Then gasps. Then phones lifted discreetly into the air as guests began filming, whispering, spreading. Jason stepped back from Mira, his jaw clenched. "I don't even know who you are," he muttered. "You're taking her side?" Mira shrieked, eyes darting between me and our parents. "After everything we've been through?" 3 months of lying and hiding isn't everything, Mira, I said quietly, pressing an ice cube napkin to my cheek. "It's betrayal." "You didn't deserve him," she screamed. "You never did." Linda stepped forward, voice trembling. "Mira, enough. You hit your sister. In front of 300 people. Oscar finally looked up from his phone, his face pale. Did you really say all these things? About your mother's recovery? About your sister stealing your life?" I didn't mean it," Mira said, her voice cracking. "I was angry. I wanted to." "To what?" Jason snapped. "Prove a point? Win something that wasn't even a game." Before anyone could respond, a sudden clattering sound echoed across the ballroom floor. Myra's purse had slipped from her shoulder, spilling its contents. And there, among the lipsticks and tissues, lay something unmistakable. My old engagement ring. Jason stared at it. "Wait. Is that?" Myra's face froze. I was going to say you gave it to me. I just wanted people to believe." Linda's hand flew to her mouth. "You stole it? From the boutique." I was going to make it look like Madison took it. Mira shouted. She always gets everything. The grades, the friends, now a billionaire partner? It's not fair. I stepped forward, picked up the ring, and handed it to Jason. I think this belongs in a pawn shop now. Neither of us should keep it. Jason took it slowly, eyes still on Mira. I can't marry someone I don't trust. And just like that, he turned and walked away, leaving Mira standing in a spotlight she no longer wanted. Guests began whispering louder. Some stood. Some shook their heads and left. Mira looked to our father.
Dad.
Oscar didn't move. I think we all need time to understand who we raised. Myra's body slumped. Her veil sagged to one side. The weight of humiliation, lies, and consequences finally too much to carry. I turned without another word and walked away, through the ballroom doors, into the cool evening air. Bella followed silently, slipping her hand into mine. Behind us, the perfect wedding Mira had imagined crumbled like the lace she'd stolen from someone else's dream. The rooftop garden of the Grand Regency was quiet, a welcome contrast to the chaos unraveling below. I stood near the edge, looking out at the city lights, champagne glass in hand. The chill in the air helped clear the storm in my head, but inside it still stirred. Dominic appeared beside me, holding 2 glasses. "This one's the good champagne," he said, handing one to me. "Not the batch we switched." I managed a small smile. "Thanks, but I think I've had enough of revenge for one day." He looked at me with a curious kind of softness. "You don't seem satisfied." "I'm not sure what I feel," I admitted. She hit me.
Lied.
Tried to frame me. And yet, I feel empty. Dominic loosened his tie. "That's because revenge is a mirror, Madison. Sometimes when we stare into it long enough, we don't like what we see staring back." I turned to him. "You're speaking from experience." He nodded. 10 years ago, my brother lost his business to a corrupt partner. Stress killed him.
Literally.
Heart attack at 32. I spent 2 years tearing that man's world apart. Lawsuits, press scandals, everything. Did it help? For 5 minutes. Then I realized I'd become someone my brother would have hated. I let that sink in. Below us, the last of the guests were leaving. I saw Linda and Oscar helping Mira into the car. Her veil was askew, her heels in her hands. For the first time in my life, she looked small. Not powerful. Not smug. Just lost. "She's been awful to me for years," I whispered. "But why do I still feel guilty?" "Because you're not her," Dominic said gently. "That's why I agreed to help. I saw someone who needed to learn a lesson before becoming what she hated." My phone buzzed. It was a message from Mira. "I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I need help. Real help. Not Dad's excuses. Not Mom's protection. Can you help me find someone to talk to?" I stared at the screen. Bella stepped onto the rooftop just then. "Everything's cleaned up," she said. "No trace of anything we did. It's over." I showed her the message. "Is she serious?" she asked. "Or is this just another trick?" "I don't know," I said honestly. "But if she's finally asking for real help, doesn't someone have to go first?" Bella hesitated, then handed me a card.
Here.
"My therapist. Family trauma specialist." I typed back. "I'll send you some names tomorrow. What you do with them is up to you." Dominic raised his glass. "To not becoming what broke us." I clinked mine gently against his. "To seeing clearly, even when it hurts." 1 month later, I sat at a quiet outdoor cafe, the soft hum of traffic in the distance and a fall breeze tugging at the corners of the napkins. The last few weeks had been strange, filled with silence, apologies, and conversations I never thought I'd have. Mira was late. Not unusual. But this time, she'd texted me twice to say she was running behind. A small thing, but different. Dominic reached across the table and gave my hand a gentle squeeze. "You okay?" "Ask me again in an hour," I said with a faint smile. We'd started meeting Mira for lunch once a month. Neutral ground, no accusations, no expectations. Sometimes Linda came. Sometimes even Oscar. Today, it was just the two of us. Mira arrived 5 minutes later, hair tied back simply, makeup soft, posture less rigid than I'd ever seen it. She wore a navy coat, not designer. No loud accessories. Just Mira. "Hey," she said softly. "Therapy ran long." I nodded. "Still going every week?" "Twice a week now," she said, sliding into the seat across from me. Dr. Lacey's persistent. In a good way. Dominic stood. "I'll give you two some space." As he left, Mira fidgeted with the menu before pulling something out of her bag, a familiar navy folder. "My old wedding plans," I said. "I found them while packing. Figured you might want them back." She pushed them toward me. "They're yours." I looked at them and said nothing for a long moment. Then finally, "Why now?" "Because I'm done taking things that don't belong to me," she said. "Dr. Lacey says I need to make concrete amends, not just say sorry and disappear." I nodded slowly. "How is therapy really going?" She looked down. "Hard. Did you know Dad used to compare me to you before I could walk?" Madison was sleeping through the night by now. "Madison didn't cry this much. I spent my whole life chasing your shadow. Until I started trying to erase it. That doesn't excuse." "It doesn't," she said, cutting me off. "But it helps me understand why I hated you so much." I swallowed. "I have something for you too." I pulled out a sealed envelope and handed it to her. She opened it. Her eyebrows lifted. "A job application?" she asked. "You're good at social media. When you're not using it to ruin people." "My company's growing. I need someone to manage the digital side." "You're offering me a job?" she said, stunned. "I'm offering you a choice. Build something with me, or walk away and start over. Either way, start." She didn't answer right away, but her eyes, they looked clearer. Later that day, I sat on a park bench across from Dominic, watching as the afternoon sun filtered through yellowing leaves. The weight on my chest felt lighter, not gone, but manageable. "I don't know what Mira and I are now," I said honestly, "but we're not enemies anymore. Not exactly sisters yet either. But something." Dominic smiled. "That's still something." I showed him the folder Mira had returned, my old wedding plans. The outlines of a life that had never happened. "She gave these back without asking for anything," I said. "I think she's finally starting to see what she took from me." "Are you going to keep them?" he asked. I stood, walked over to a nearby trash can, and dropped the folder inside. "No," I said simply. "Those belong to someone I don't recognize anymore." Just then my phone buzzed, another message from Mira. "By the way," I said yes. "I'd love to work with you. For real this time." I didn't reply right away. Instead, I looked up at the clear sky, the hint of wind, the noise of the world still moving forward. Dominic stood and took my hand. "What now?" he asked. "Now," I smiled. "I write my own story." Months passed. The company took off. Dominic kept his promise, not just as an investor, but a mentor, and eventually more than that.
Slowly.
Honestly, Mira joined the team. She started small, handling Instagram posts and client interactions. But she never missed a meeting, never took credit for someone else's work, never pushed for praise. She was learning. One day, while we were packing up after a product showcase, Mira turned to me. "That day at the boutique," she said, "I wanted you to walk in and catch us. I wanted to hurt you. I wanted you to feel humiliated." I didn't respond right away. "But I also never expected to feel this much guilt," she added quietly. "And I'm sorry. Not because I got caught, but because I finally understand what I took from you." I looked at her, tears suddenly stinging my eyes. Not from pain, but from closure. "I know," I whispered. She hesitated. "Is Dominic coming to Sunday dinner? Do you want him there? I think he sees through my stuff. And I need that." That evening, I walked through my apartment, past the mirror near the front door. For once, I stopped and really looked. I didn't see the version of myself that had been cheated on, slapped, or pitted. I saw a woman who had survived, who had grown, who had chosen truth over revenge, and her own future over anyone else's lies. And that, finally was enough. Thank you for watching this story till the end. If it touched your heart or made you think, don't forget to like the video. Share your thoughts in the comments. We read every single one. And if you enjoy powerful stories like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel. New content is coming soon. You won't want to miss it. Until next time, take care and stay strong.